Okay, this is not something you often see. Get this out of the way. This is kind of like what I call the preliminary area on the freezer. So basically we come in through that door over there and we put things on the freezer, of which Sam was always saying, why can't I get into my freezer? Anyway, so today we've got a few Super Bengals, which are, I've even created a test bench. What have I done? That should turn on. Yeah, did last night. I've created a little test master unit so that I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, righto. All very nice. I'm using a, don't worry about this meter. Meter was just something I was using before, and I wanted to test this thing. Mate of mine from Tassie sent this up to me, and I didn't expect it to work, actually. It's an old RS107, and these were great little devices, because when you look at it, I mean, look, nobody believes the modulation meters and blah blah blah. But as far as that's just balancing there. That's the bit of cable. Amazing. You couldn't do that twice. Anyway, they were power SWR modulation meter. As I said, the mod meters don't pay too much attention. They had a little antenna that poked out the top. I don't even want to touch it now. Anyway, that antenna pops up for RF signal strength readings. So I did test that, but they, allowed you to put an oscillator, like an RF crystal, in there, and with an oscillator, actually check the if the crystal was working, and then you had some outputs on there, which was quite interesting. And here they are for the scope: RF out, AF out, and I mean, look, it is what it is. That little socket's a little bit kind of average there at the moment. That could be a bit of need a bit of fixing. Anyway, so then I put it together with we had a MFJ 3 gig 100 and something watt, are they? I don't know. No, 300 actually, 300 watts for about 0.1 of a second. So the curve is basically time. Oh, there you go, it did fall over. So the curve is time, 10 minutes. You can put basically 125 watts into it for 10 minutes. And then, of course, the curve works itself around. About 4.5 minutes, 150 watts. Anyway, so basically, this would be a lovely, for 100 watts all day long. You're pretty right with that dummy load. Nice looking dummy load. Oh, geez, we'll be right here. As you can see, well heat sinked and heavy and all that. So I'm just taking this little meter and having a bit of a play and going, hello, test 1, 2. I wish I could whistle. Oh, yeah, my whistle's terrible. Anyway, in a perfect world, this would say about 12 watts coming off this Super Bengal. Now, anyone knows me knows that I don't mind Super Bengals, so I'm a real particular sort of person who, I'm virtually getting to the stage where I'm spraying something like this here, taking a bit of cloth, and I'm looking to see how many scratches are across this top edge. Really good one, this one. This is a faceplate that is very unusual for something that's, 40 plus years old. Would it be that old? 40 or close. Anyway, and to give you the difference, here's what you end up with on some. Now, that's actually a bit of a smudge there. This one's got a little bit, you can sort of see through the little top scratches there. And, and look, incredibly acceptable. But when I clean them up, have a look at that. That there, oh yeah, probably that angle is better. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's the light, obviously got to get the angle right. But you see these little scratches like here. Okay, so you always, if you're as OCD as me, you're always trying to get something as clean as this here. Now, these have very fine scratches in there, and you could still argue that, that would be significant. If you're as OCD as me. So there's one line there. But overall, look, not bad, for, excuse me, for 40 odd years. The faceplates on both of these are not bad, actually, for Super Bengals. And we'll clean those up a little bit more as well. This one, unfortunately, I'd love to get another meter for. Believe it or not, it's just got a little fine scratch through here, which we've tried to polish out. and we can't get it out. And you'll see that on the video very easily. Things like that can ruin an entire radio. We've got some pretty good products. We use a lot of for our lot of the stuff we use on the cars back this direction over here. For polishing and cutting, and we use those same products. Unfortunately, it's a real scratch. And so meter works fine, and so I'm happy with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's great. 1, 2, excellent. But unfortunately, we're going to be looking for another case for that meter to suit. So if you've got one, don't mind that. It's a bit of polish on that one, actually, to be honest. And we haven't really, when we've been trying to get the scratch out of that one, we haven't quite taken all the polish off. These will go through a full, like I love getting these as clean as I can. Just, and as you see over here, our pseudo paint bay at the moment, we've got just a few covers that are coming up. And I did a couple of photos earlier, and what was interesting that this one here came off the very famous Dodge Nitro. I'll be right, thinking about the four-wheel drive. The Nitro Bengal, which is sort of... we're going to do another video on that. A couple of people asked me why that video's gone missing. We will do another video on it, and in the next month or so. But just a couple of things we have to change in the way we presented that video. But here's the difference. This is a standard Super Bengal cover. This is basically the normal slotted back for ventilation, mainly for the power supply, a little bit for the output stage, mainly the power supply. And what someone's done here is decided that, nope, they've filled that all in. Now, on first notice, you don't notice, but you do. If you look close, look at that. See that there? As much as they've tried to get it, because I've just done a gloss paint on it, guess what? And see, you can see it's not there. And then you see the grills. Look, they haven't done a bad job, but, you'll always see that. And it's still, just a bit of an issue for people that are OCD like me. But yeah, so we're just sort of having a bit of a look. So what do we look for? Generally, trying to find something where no one's cut any tracks or done anything. So this one, I think it's got a bottom cover off. Yep. Okay, so we're happy here, really happy. So across here, oh, geez, I wish I had a little poker. Hang on. Okay, so often you'll see, I'll grab a screwdriver. This is your 640 KC line. This is your 320 KC line, 160, da-da-da. So, often these tracks are cut through these sections here. And, look, whilst I can clean them up and always make them look, fairly nice, it's so nice when you've got a PLL 02A with just nothing done to it. This is very standard in, the way that it's looking. But a couple of things I've got to check. When this radio came in, what would you think if you... Hang on, I just need to flip that over. And by the way, that is an A18, so that means it was type approved as an 18-channel radio when it came in. But when I looked on the back here, 240 volts with an arrow going to the DC outlet here. Now, I don't get concerned by much, but I sort of looked at that and I thought, oh, I hope the person's joking. And I must be honest, I can't remember. Now, let me just set this up the right way. Hang on. Now, when I say set these things up the right way, the way that you can keep these tops looking reasonably good is that when you're working on them, and you might notice on Mike CB, he will run, what tape that we use for masking off when we're doing up cars and bits and pieces. He does a lot of things to make sure that a radio, when it comes to him, goes out the same way. Now, we don't restore radio. We don't repair radios here. We just restore them for our own benefit and for a bit of fun. But still, you can save yourself a lot of grief by just, putting a bit of fabric down. Now, looking at this, just having a very quick look and seeing where things go. Now, I sort of have had a bit to do with these power supplies before, so I can sort of just have a quick look and say, right, but where is my concern? Coming off there. Right, okay, so 240 volts in here. What they're doing, they've got a connector in here that, even though you can see 12 volts running over to the connector, don't be fooled by that. The idea of that is that basically when you put the plug in, it disconnects any connection to the 12 volt area, and when you take the plug out, it allows the 12 volt to work. So at the moment, those two lines, your AC lines coming through, they're basically coming over to the on-off switch over here, which is right there, sorry. Might help you if I get the camera in the right spot. And then that's coming back over, and they're switching into the power supply. But what they're doing is they're switching these two leads here, which are the output 20 odd volts output from the transformer, into there. So then what they're doing is coming over there, switching out there. Yeah, now I would put money on when I put a meter on this, that in actual fact, just looking what I'm briefly looking at here, that we won't find 240 volts on there at all. I'm not sure why someone wrote that, but I can tell you now, as much as I'm sort of having a quick look at it, I'll be metering it. I'm not going to just sit there and go, no, it's all fine. We'll definitely meter that. But yeah, now this was the excuse me, the earlier version of the Bengal, where they actually had this little a socket on the rear for 240 volts, and quite okay, quite approved to use and type approved. What they did is they went over in time to this later model, where they see how they did a plate on the back there, and that allowed you to have a cord that went in there, and that was actually done by. Now you'll probably find there's probably two different importers here. Now I could be wrong, but let's just see. I reckon that might be who imported this. Let's have a look here. Oh no, Squire. Okay, so Squire Products, which from memory was prior to Hitachi. So let's pop him back down there, and this one will probably, being an earlier one, be a Squire as well, I would have thought. But oh no, I'm right. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, yep, yeah. So Squire were definitely early days. So that one's serial number 250. You're sort of curious to know what this one is now. See if I can do that without you guys read upside down. 322. So when you look at that same 2000 sequence, that mod happened. That mod happened between 250 and 300 and something. 250 and 322, was it? Yeah. So not long after this version, this one here, with that square socket, they went over to having a type approved power cord just coming straight out the back of them. So there you go. All right. Well, this is going to be a bit of fun. We certainly want to get a meter for this one here, and but I can't actually check the receiver very easily here right at the moment, but I'll guarantee it'll be fine. But we'll put it, once we get the cases back on, it'll go through into the actual sort of area where I work these days. This is my old bench area in here, and as people that come here know, I sort of do little bits and pieces out here, but this has become more storage, and and as you see, the freezer, what a great idea, eh? How to make your missus really be unhappy with you. Anyway, these are drying quite well, actually. Let's have a feel. Oh yeah, that's touch dry, actually. That's not bad. Big thing will be whether we give it another coat. Couple of things we couldn't. We tried actually to see if we could get these little dents out. It's very, very slight. You won't see them, unless it's direct light like this. But there's a couple of little marks in there. Strangely enough, this one here is actually coming up better, even though it's got those little fluted, internal flutes that have been filled in. Anyway, if you like Super Bengals like I do, and I do, these are great radios to, just do little bits and pieces to really have them come up and look fairly nice. And they certainly are an old classic. Getting these fronts to look, as nice as some of these are, is very hard. We'll give that a good clean up. Once again, if you've got I don't actually need the meter. If you've got an old, whether it's a Scorpion or a wrecked Bengal or anything, we're going to try and see if we can get ourselves another meter cover there just to chuck over. But I can tell you now that probably won't prove to be easy. I've got a lot of radios here, but sometimes just a few millimeters difference and they just don't fit. So anyway, all right. Well, we'll carry on with our little pseudo outdoor workshop that did balance. Oh, there you go, balances again. But just to show you, we don't always use the high-tech technical equipment. We have a bit of a play with the old 1970s stuff every now and again. That one there, it actually had a couple of little issues. I'm going to have a look at that. I just fired that up for something to do. But and that's an old Daiwa. That's a very collectible old meter, that thing. So whatever's wrong with it, I hope I can get it sorted, because it is a very clean SW210A for sure. All right, all the best, and thanks very much for having a look at me wasting time out here in the shed mucking around with Super Bengals. But it's good to be able to show you, what an example of untouched, unmodified. They're real classics, absolutely. 73s VK3 Charlie Mike JDW 229. Cheers.